Now, this book is unique in the fact that it's a deep dive into internalized anti-Jewishness. Now, other terms for internalized anti-Jewishness could be internalized Jew hate, or even sometimes self-hate. Now, this is a phenomenon which affects a variety of different communities, but my work is focusing on this in the Jewish community. And I said earlier that it's unique because most work about Jew hate actually focuses from a non-Jewish perspective. It focuses on what is done to Jews, what is said about Jews, ideas about Jews, and it doesn't necessarily discuss the impact of Jew hatred on Jews. And this is something that I discuss in my work in the building of the movement that I have worked on, Jewish Pride, which took kind of lessons from my journey to gay pride and kind of gave it to the Jewish community, as it were.
So let's talk a little bit about social media and the role that has to play in it. Just in the last week or so, we've seen Kanye West being taken off his social media platforms because he was posting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Now, this must be a catalyst for so much more hate. And must, spur people who believe these kind of things to take to social media and post them.
What we see is Jew hatred, which is often called the world's oldest hatred, being expressed in this modern, or through this modern technology. And it has allowed what I call cross-contamination. Jew hatred is a multi-headed beast. It really stems from the same source, from the same well, but in different places and different times, it's expressed a little bit differently. It's really context specific and it always fits the zeitgeist. But what we've seen because of social media is Jew hatred from all over the world kind of come together as one beast. And I just think with regards to the social media kind of companies, those businesses, they have no ability to deal with it because the volume of people is so enormous. But absolutely, it enables very, very ancient and very dangerous ideas to be spread around the world like that. And we saw that with Kanye, we've seen that with other people. And I just want to remind everyone listening that Kanye's followers on social media is more than the number of Jews there are in the world. Like, that's kind of crazy. There's 15.2, 15.3 million Jews in the world. We're still not at our pre-Holocaust levels. So all of these huge celebrities with 20, 30, 40 million followers, they have more followers than there are Jews in the world. And they are very irresponsibly tweeting and sharing memes which demonize Jewish people. And either they understand that and they don't care, or they don't understand it. But it's really it's a very dangerous situation we're in. And what we saw last May, there was a war between Israel and Hamas. And whenever there is a conflict in the Middle East, what we see is attacks on Jewish people around the world spike. And we saw this on social media. Last May, it was horrendous on social media, but it didn't stay online. We saw Jews in the streets of London, Jews in the streets of Los Angeles, in Toronto, in New York City, in Vienna, all over the world be physically attacked, and in part because of the rhetoric we saw online.
And social media platforms have pledged to take action on this kind of content and remove it. But I don't know if you follow the Centre for Countering Digital Hate's work. They found in a study they conducted in 2021 that 80% of anti-Semitic content on social media that was flagged to them was not acted on. Do you think social media platforms need to do more to tackle this kind of content online?
Well, that's absolutely my experience, first of all. Tweets or Instagram posts or messages which are in some ways aggressively anti-Jewish. They reference the Holocaust, they reference murdering Jews, they reference Jews being expelled and ethnically cleansed from many different countries, and they're left up. And I think it's because Jew hatred I'm sure this is a problem for every community, right? I'm sure this is not just a Jewish specific problem. I'm sure that every community is dealing with this issue. But I think that I'll speak from a Jewish perspective, that a lot of people don't understand Jew hatred. So something which may appear on a very surface, very shallow level to be just criticism of Israel or just a commentary on a particular individual, if you have an understanding, you see quite quickly that it may be conspiracy fantasy or blood libel or racial libel, all of these different things. And I just think, unfortunately, the algorithms or the programs are not equipped to deal with the problem, because it is immensely complicated. Jew hatred is a real subject. It's subject that people study for years, they research. So how can we expect these programs to be able to understand and spot all examples? So I live in London and I used to live in Hong Kong, and I wear a kippah, so I'm what you would call a visibly Jewish Jew. So I'm not Orthodox, but I wear a kippah and people know that I'm Jewish because of things that I wear. And I have noticed an increase in kind of harassment over the last 10 years. I was not wearing a kippah 10 years ago, but friends of mine were, and they could really kind of freely move around London without really thinking about it. Sometimes they would consider it, obviously, but they felt comfortable more or less. Now I'm always aware that I'm wearing this target, essentially. I become a walking target because I'm choosing to express my ethnicity, my Jewish identity. And I've been in London, I've been back in London about 3.5 months, and I've had a number of different experiences with regards to people making comments to me on the streets of London.
So let's talk a bit about your book now. It's got such an important message behind it. And what are you hoping the reader is going to take away and learn from it?
Thank you so much. Well, for my non-Jewish readers, and I do want non-Jewish people to read this book, this is a book relevant to non-Jewish people for a number of reasons. One, it can help them engage with their own identities. I've had non-Jewish people read my first book, Jewish Pride, Rebuilding a People, and they said that it helped them develop Chinese pride or pride in whatever other identity they may have. So that's really wonderful. But also it can help non-Jewish people learn about Jewish experience and become better allies. Because again, one of the things we don't speak about so much is the impact of Jew hatred on Jews. So a lot of people have some idea, they might have heard of the Holocaust. How does that impact Jews today? How does the fact that in living memory 6 million Jews were murdered impact how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our safety? So that's really important and would help a non-Jewish person become an ally, which is really what we want. We want to empower and support non-Jewish people in standing with us against this fight. And with regards to my Jewish readers, what I really would like is to educate, inspire, and empower them. I want them to understand the history of this phenomenon, the history of our experience better from an intellectual, academic, historical perspective. But also I want to give them tools, give them practical tools, and make them feel that they are able to investigate themselves without shame and really see if they experience internalized anti-Jewishness.